Hello and welcome to a tutorial video showing off how to set up and use my architectural section toolkit. Firstly, just a couple of new features that I've added recently that aren't visible in the other demo video. So I've extended the section functionality now to support up to 4 different sections. You can see here section A, B, C and D, and these are all sort of toggleable and editable independently. Which should hopefully make things a bit easier to set up for larger scenes where you want multiple sections. I've also added, let's just turn these off, that one. I've also added this option here, update every frame. So this is true on all of the different section tools. What that does is what it says, updates every frame. So if you're doing anything with animating these tools, so if you're making this move with Sequencer, this needs to be enabled so that as the tool moves when you click play, it's also updating the data that's driving the section. So hopefully you can make some nice cool animated sections with that. Next we have some cutouts. So there is a spherical cutout tool. Let's toggle it on. There we are, so you can do some cutaways nice and easily with a sphere, and we have settings for that, so radius. You can also invert, do an interior if you wish, and then similarly we also have a box cutout. So here we are there, so you can do nice simple cutaways, square or circular. And then finally we have the spline tool. Toggle this one on. So this supports 4 points on a spline. It's only ever 4. If we add another one, it breaks everything. But with 4 points, we can create a nice bent section. Would work quite nicely. There is a setting in here. When this point is this side, to invert the middle, and that just swaps the maths around. So it works. And you can create nice kind of like kink sections, whatever it is you want to do. And yeah, so how do we set up and install this tool? Well, we go to our library. Once you've bought it, it'll be added to your vault. This is where everything that comes off the marketplace goes, and you just click add to project here and select the project that you're working on. So currently it supports 4.16 onwards. 4.23 is the latest, and I'll be keeping that updated with all the latest versions when they come out. So that will add this folder to your tool, to your project, and we have here this example map which I'm currently in. This is the Epic Sun Temple example level that I've just edited to work with this. So there's a few things we need to do to make this work for us, and I've included some instructions. So if we just open this up and have a look. So what is the tool actually doing? Well, there's 2 things the tool does. Firstly, it hides everything that's not required. Select my section. So everything this side of this spline is being hidden, so we need to set our material up so it can be hidden. We change to a different view. Obviously the model is still here, and this is like hidden away in the renderer, which is why it's showing expensive there. And then the other thing it does is it makes the interiors render as black, so that gives you that effect. So if we look here, it's not actually a full section. There's no solid geometry along the edge, but we've made the interiors rendered black. If you've modeled your geometry properly and not intersectioning like here, that'll look a lot better. But yeah, so how do we do that? Well, first thing, we have this material function. This is what does all that. This is what does all the hiding. It does all the checks with the different planes and maths and things. So we need to add it to our material. So if I just open material, this one's already had it added. By default, if you're using one of these example materials, you should probably expect it to look like this. So this is all your material section settings going in to your shader. What we need to do is add this material function. So create a material function, and it's called MF Architecting Tool. So it's looking for material attributes as an input, and it's going to give us them as an output. So there's an option here, rather than using this output, which is combining the different things in the shader, we can turn on here use material attributes. Shown here, use material attributes, and what that will do now is allow us to use another node, which is make material attributes. Now this looks exactly like the original shader output. Is in fact exactly the same. and we just need to move all these to this one. So what this is doing is just combining all of the data to one single output pin that we can use, and that we can then plug into our section tool, and then finally into our material outputs. There we are. Let's just compile that and have a look what that does. I'm going to find the right material, so it's this stone. So now we're getting that hiding, but we're not getting our cuts properly, because we haven't set up the rest of the tool. So the other things we need to do here are two-sided and masked blend mode. So at the moment, if I get back to my stone, yeah, it's currently not set to be masked, so it's not hiding things correctly, and also we want things to be two-sided so that we can see that interior black face. And then hopefully now, as this compiles, we're back where we should be. So there's two steps to this. Like I say, firstly, enabling two-sided material attributes and then masked, and then adding the section tool in between the material that you've got and then the output. Unfortunately, you do have to do this for all the materials that you want to use in the scene, but once it's done once, that should work for everything. So, alternatively, if you want to have a sort of traditional black and white section, I have provided a set of materials. So each of those materials is, as named, only used for whichever of the tools you're using. If I just turn off my spline, let's just go to the plan. Yeah, so I've got my plan, everything's cut down. What I can do, if I want to apply this to everything in the material, I have this blueprint material, BP material override. Assets, blueprints, nope, blueprints, BP material override, here it is. What this will do, this will override the material of the objects in the scene that you select with the material that you've selected. So if I go into materials, then say, right, plan projected, I can replace all the materials of everything in the scene with a material that's already been set up. So it's just plain white material, and it's using that that section plan that I've set up. So this works in a number of ways. Firstly, it replaces that material, like I said, and then you can reset back. The way reset works, perfect unfortunately, if we open only static mesh, every mesh has things applied by default. So reset will reset back to these by default. This scene's set up correctly most of the time, so that works, which is quite nice. Unfortunately, if I just go back to my override tool, a few things aren't set up that way. So this water in the background, this is actually a floor mesh with water overrided in scene. So we have to have an exclude in our tool. So if we go up here, material override, we can exclude, and here I've excluded the fire pits and the waves materials. And you can just add another mesh to exclude, either pick it by name or with the eyedropper and exclude that one there, which is already excluded. But so that's one way we can stop things being overridden. At the moment we're using override all, so it's going to override everything except what's in exclude. We turn that off, it's only going to override what's been included in here. So, or another option here, hide others. So we turn that on, it's going to hide the objects that haven't been excluded. So on and replace, you see it's hiding the objects out here. Secondly, we can do this by tags. So if I select an object, every object in Unreal, and have a tag, and it's here down in actor tag, not component tag, and that's just a name that we give it, and then that will be excluded or included as above, as before, and same. So I can exclude things by tags. So I've tagged the ocean, tagged the foliage, tagged the vista, and I've tagged the statue. So two ways to include and exclude things depending on how you set up your scene. Alternatively, you could just set the materials up to have the function in. That works as well, and you can use any of these to replace it. So hopefully that makes sense. It's not that difficult to just add these things. I know people are coming from architectural backgrounds, they may not know Unreal that well, so Hopefully this video will help make those instructions a little clearer. Right, thank you very much.